I don't think either of those two things is the key to writing a bestseller. Of course, it helps if you write well, and it helps if you have an issue that people are interested in. But the only thing that really counts is that the reader has an emotional reaction to the book. That is what people enjoy. It's what makes them turn the pages. It's what makes them call up their friends and say, I just read this great book, you must read this book. It's the emotional engagement of the reader in the story and in the characters. That's what makes a bestseller. One of the lessons that I had to learn as a young writer was to be a perfectionist. Because when I began, I was writing thrillers and I would think, I don't really have to spend a lot of time describing this house or this landscape. Because this is a thriller and what people are interested in is the chase and the violence and the danger. And I didn't spend much time on characters because I thought nobody wants complex characters, this is a thriller. And that was a mistake. And that was one of the first lessons I had to learn, was that I had to give my entire concentration to every aspect of the book. And even then, some parts of it would be better than others. So I've always found it very easy to write action, chases, fights, that kind of thing. Whereas I have to stop and think very hard if I have to describe a mountain. That's not easy for me. And what I learned was that I've got to do all of those things to write a good book. I can't just write the things that are easy for me. I have to think very hard about the things that are difficult for me. Yes, the newspapers and the news can be a source of story ideas, and that might be a good one. The idea that wealthy people have secrets that they're ashamed of. That's a very powerful idea, because you can have a drama where one person is trying to discover these secrets and other people are trying to keep them hidden. And that's a good drama. So that sort of thing. And as I said before, I'm always asking, could that be a story for me? There is a problem for me in writing about current events, because I don't know the end of the story. So I can write about the Middle Ages or the First World War because we know how the story ends. But if I wrote about contemporary political events or world events, there might not be a resolution. And a story has to have a resolution, at least my kind of story does, because I don't write, as you know, I don't write experimental fiction that breaks the rules. I'm a mainstream novelist, and my stories have a beginning and an end. And the political crises that are going on right now, we don't know what the end is, so it's difficult for me to write a story with a satisfying resolution. That would be very interesting. There is a problem for a writer in setting a story in a culture of which he has very little personal knowledge. So I can write about the Middle Ages in England very easily because I'm surrounded by medieval buildings. I live in London, I walk down the street, I see a medieval church. I'm kind of steeped in it. Now, it would be a tremendous exercise for me to try and gain that kind of intimate knowledge about Islamic culture or Japanese culture, Chinese culture, these cultures which are so different from what I knew when I was a boy and so on. It's possible. And we think of James Clavell, who wrote Shogun, huge bestseller of the 1970s. He learned enough about Japanese culture to be able to set an exciting and dramatic story in, 17th century, 18th century Japan. So it's possible, but it's a real challenge. And I think you would have to be motivated by having some kind of romance with that culture. You would have to love Islamic art, for example, or Japanese history, or the something about the culture of China. Then I think you could immerse yourself in it, but it would not be easy. Well, I'm reading War and Peace for the third time, and each time I read it, I like it more. So right now, I guess Tolstoy is my favourite writer. But ask me again in a month's time, and it may be somebody else.
Go call you.